In this video, we are answering the question of what is machine learning so that you can cut through the confusing tech jargon, stop feeling overwhelmed by the buzzwords, and finally understand the technology that is rapidly shaping your career and your daily life. Let's get into it. First, we will cover what machine learning actually means in plain conversational English, separating it from general AI. Then we will break down the three main ways these systems learn. After that, we will look at some real-world examples and decode the heavy buzzwords you keep hearing on the news. Finally, we will tackle the elephant in the room, looking at the limitations, the biases, and the very real fears about whether these algorithms are coming for your job. The basics: teaching computers without micromanaging them. To understand machine learning, you first have to understand how we used to do things. In traditional computer programming, a human being writes a very strict, detailed set of rules. It is a lot of if this, then that. If the user clicks this button, load this page. It is predictable, but it is rigid. You have to micromanage the computer every step of the way. Machine learning completely flips that script. Instead of giving the computer a rigid set of rules, you give it an algorithm, which is basically just a recipe or a set of problem-solving instructions. And then you feed it a massive amount of data. You let the computer find the patterns on its own. It is a lot like trying to explain to a toddler what a cat is. You do not give a 2-year-old a mathematical formula for the distance between pointy ears and whiskers. You just point at enough cats until the kid figures out the pattern. Machine learning is doing exactly that, but with machines. Also, we need to clear up a massive point of confusion right now. AI, or artificial intelligence, is the broad umbrella term for making machines act smart. Machine learning, or ML, is just one specific subset of AI. It is the engine under the hood that makes modern AI actually work. And while feeding data to a computer sounds simple enough, the way it actually learns is fascinating. In fact, one of the methods we are about to cover in the next section is the exact reason your favorite streaming service knows all about your secret guilty pleasure movies. How machines learn: the 3 flavors of artificial brain power. Okay, now let's talk about the exact ways these systems learn. There are 3 main types, and knowing these will instantly make you the smartest person in the room at your next office meeting. The first is called supervised learning. This is where we give the computer labeled data. We basically play the role of the teacher holding up flashcards. We feed the computer 1,000 pictures labeled spam email and 1,000 pictures labeled safe email. The computer studies them, finds the differences, and then uses that knowledge to filter your inbox tomorrow morning. It is learning under our direct supervision. The second type is unsupervised learning. This is where things get a little wild. Here we give the computer a giant mountain of messy, completely unlabeled data and just say, hey, find something interesting. There is no teacher. The machine looks for hidden patterns or groupings that humans might not even notice. This is exactly how companies segment their customers for marketing, or how scientists discover new genetic patterns. The third is reinforcement learning. This is purely trial and error. The computer is put into a situation with a clear goal, and it gets a digital reward when it does something right and a penalty when it messes up. Think of it like training a dog with treats. This is how self-driving cars learn to stay in their lanes, and how computers learn to beat world champions at complex board games like chess and Go. By the way, if you're getting value out of this video, hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell to get more valuable content like this. So we have these 3 learning methods, but we are going to dive into some real-world applications right now, and you might be shocked to realize just how much of your day is already being secretly managed by these exact algorithms. Real-world impact, from buzzwords to your backyard. All right, let's decode some of those intimidating buzzwords you keep seeing in headlines, starting with deep learning and neural networks. You hear these terms tossed around a lot. A neural network is simply a machine learning model inspired by the structure of the human brain. It uses layers of artificial neurons to process information. Deep learning is just a neural network that has many, many layers. It is deep because the layers stack up, allowing the computer to process incredibly complex things, like recognizing your face to unlock your phone or translating real-time audio. Then you have NLP, which stands for Natural Language Processing. This is the specific branch of machine learning that helps computers understand, interpret, and generate human language. Whenever you talk to Siri, or whenever you ask ChatGPT to write an email for you, you are interacting with NLP. A lot of people feel incredibly frustrated and overwhelmed by all this jargon. It feels like magic, or worse, it feels like an alien intelligence. But it is not magic. Underneath the hood, it is just statistics. It is math in a trench coat pretending to be a human. It predicts the next most likely word, or the next most likely pixel. Now, it is easy to look at all this immense power and feel like we are just inches away from a sci-fi dystopia. But before you start hoarding canned goods and building a bunker, we really need to talk about where machine learning falls completely flat. The dark side. Why machine learning isn't perfect yet. Let's look at all the angles here because we have to address the very real fears people have. The biggest limitation of machine learning can be summed up in a classic tech acronym, GIGO. It stands for garbage in, garbage out. These algorithms do not have morals. They do not have common sense. They only know what we teach them. If you train a hiring algorithm using 10 years of data from a company that secretly favored hiring one demographic over another, the machine learning model will learn that bias. It will actually automate and scale human prejudice. Data bias is a massive, incredibly serious problem in the industry right now. And what about the fear of job loss? It is a valid fear. Automation has always disrupted labor. Machine learning is going to replace certain tasks, especially repetitive data entry, basic copywriting, and routine analysis. But here is the nuance that the doom-scrolling headlines gloss over. While it removes tasks, it also creates entirely new roles. We are moving from being the creators of basic content to the editors and directors of intelligent tools. The goal isn't to replace humans, but to augment them. People who refuse to learn these tools might get replaced, yeah, but they will be replaced by other humans who know how to use machine learning to work 10 times faster. Alright, so to sum things up, we covered how machine learning flips traditional programming on its head by letting computers figure out the rules by recognizing patterns in massive amounts of data. We broke down the 3 ways they learn, which are supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. We demystified heavy buzzwords like deep learning, neural networks, and natural language processing. And finally, we looked at the real limitations of data bias and job disruption. What this all means for you is that you no longer have to be in the dark. You don't need to fear the AI revolution because you understand the mechanics behind it. It isn't a flawless magic brain. It is a highly capable tool that relies entirely on human data. By understanding what machine learning is and how it functions, you are taking back your power. You can now step into your workplace or browse the internet with a critical eye, ready to leverage these tools to your advantage rather than feeling left behind by them.
If you want to keep learning, check out this video next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.